Hello, this is Marion from Within. Welcome back to our series of interviews of next generation data providers. So we want to help our clients across the financial industry to explore the broad ESG data markets. And today we will discover Noonum, a technological ESG data provider specialized in artificial intelligence. I'm delighted to be joined today by Shankar. Hi, Shankar.
Hello, Marianne, how are you?
Good, and you?
Very good, thank you. It's pretty late in the day for you in France.
Yes, really time difference with the US.
We are based on the West Coast, Seattle.
Seattle. So you are Noonum's CEO. Can you tell us a few words about you and about your company before we deep dive into your offer?
So my name is Shankar Vaidyanathan. I'm a technologist. I was at Microsoft for a couple of decades before launching Noonum. Most recently at Microsoft, I was leading the Internet of Things effort for a period of time. Prior to that, I was the engineering director for the platform, the application platform for Bing search and advertising. And prior to that, I was writing compilers and debuggers for Visual Studio for a period of time. That is my background. This is a fintech startup called Noonum, based out of the Seattle area. We have our offices in the University of Washington. We can talk more about the company as we go through the interview.
Thanks. So we identify Noonum as a technological data provider, as I said, specialized in artificial intelligence and knowledge graph technology. Can you explain to us in few words what is this technology and how it works?
Yeah, so let me tell you about the product itself. Like Noonum is a predictive market dynamics platform to help discover and monitor companies that are aligned to our customers, that are investors, their ideas, their values, and their convictions, right? Our target customers are mainly institutional investors, asset and portfolio managers, as well as asset owners and allocators. So the investment community today is demanding to know a company's stance on social justice or what they have done for climate change. In fact, more than 84% of the value of a company is its brand, strategy, network, intellectual property, and all sorts of other intangibles. And all this information is not available in a single document or a set of time series data, you know that. So it's spread across 45 zettabytes of information, and 90% of that information is unstructured. And this information is also constantly changing every moment. So Noonum is about connecting the dots across these disparate sources of information in real time to help discover, monitor, and predict the relationship between companies and those intangibles that we talked about. We call them themes. So, and we do that through our knowledge graph.
Okay. Interesting. Therefore, investors are using Noonum to their investment strategies. So what about your ESG and sustainable investing offering?
Yeah. We have a very important focus on sustainable investing. So our mission is to help our customers create a better and sustainable world at scale. So we support themes such as carbon finance and gender equality that correspond to the ESG investing, the world of ESG investing, whether it's the E pillar or the S pillar or the G pillar. In addition, we also have a lens on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. So it's easy for our customers to identify companies that are directly and indirectly moving the needle on any UN SDG, let's say number 14 on life below water, right?
Okay, so if I understand well, you help investors having information on specific themes. You're not giving an ESG score. So what is unique about your offering that is quite different from other ESG providers?
We are not yet another ESG score provider, right? So we feel that the analytics score providers today look at companies through their lens, right? There was an article in Financial Times recently that reported Tesla was given a top score by one provider for their push towards alternative energy. Whereas another provider put Tesla at the bottom for their worker rights issue. So I think as an advisor, you are pretty familiar with some of these problems, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we believe in empowering our investors to choose their lens, their values, their ideas, their convictions, and their point of view when analyzing companies. So for Tesla, we can understand and provide a thematic score for the exposure to renewable energy. But if a customer is interested in looking at Tesla through a completely different lens, we can help do that. So the flexibility and the composability that we provide is quite unique to us.
What I found interesting when exploring Noonum offer is that technology is really at the center of your solution. And nowadays, we often hear about AI solutions, but it's hard to understand how it actually works. So, you're using knowledge graph technology. How does it help with the analytics scores?
Yeah, very good question. So we are built on graphs, as I mentioned. So we utilize the knowledge graph throughout our product, right from the initial discovery phase to continual monitoring. For instance, if you search for companies that are exposed to, let's say, renewable energy, it is not just a keyword search, but it also includes synonyms such as eco-energy, eco-friendly energy, or regenerative energy. Further, it also includes the types of renewable energy, whether it's solar, wind power, biogas, geothermal. So it's like having an expert with you to help you discover these companies that are exposed to these themes. And more importantly, with a graph or network, we help our customers understand a company's supply chain, their value chain, the customer demand, the competitive pressure, and the other network effects, and incorporate all these into the calculation of the thematic scores or thematic exposure. So our product is totally built on this knowledge graph. And so this network or the graph manifests itself across all of our use cases and features.
Okay, so knowledge graph is complex technology. So is your application a web product only, or do you provide data feeds as well?
Yeah, our application is a web product today, and we do allow our customers to download these graph information and the other thematic scores into a CSV file or a JSON file. But in the future, we'll also provide them as data feeds, but today we do not.
Okay. And concerning data sets, which geographical area does it cover?
Yeah, we cover only the US listed companies today,
Okay.
but we have plans to expand our coverage to other markets. I'm sure UK and European markets are pretty hot when it comes to sustainable and ESG investing.
Yeah. And in order to offer a relevant analysis on companies, I guess you have gathered a huge amount of data. Where does your data come from, and how many data sources do you have?
Our data is today predominantly public sources, which are SEC filings such as 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 6Ks, 20Fs, also press releases and earnings calls.
Mhm.
And we also look at the patent filings and also news from 2,000 global sources in real time. That includes Financial Times and Reuters.
Okay. And when data is from annual report, for example, we know the frequency annual. But when it comes to news, for example, news are available every second on the internet. So how often do you update your data?
Yeah, so we have a pipeline, an ingestion pipeline that looks at all these different sources. So our machines extract the data directly from the source, such as Edgar for SEC filings, and for the news, we get them through a data feed. So everything is machine driven and automated.
Okay. Yeah, sure. When there is drastic change in a thematic exposure, investors want information as fast as possible. Um, I understand. Still concerning data, how do you control data quality of the extracted data, and in your case, quality of the analysis?
Yeah, it's a hard problem. So we have a gold standard. that we compare against in terms of the entity recognition and the relationship as we build the graphs. So we continually work towards improving our machine's understanding of language, right? And we are all about unstructured data. And we also provide evidence for the machine's discovery of companies and their relationships. This is something that you alluded to earlier. You know, we provide uh, the evidence is the pointers to the news articles or SEC filings that show the connection. So there's no black box approach. We call this explainable AI. So our customers can provide feedback directly from the application itself, whether the machines got it right or wrong. And that type of feedback ultimately helps our machine learning models as well.
Okay, so continuous improvements of the machine learning models. Interesting. Does your data allow us to comply with SASB, TCFD, SDG recommendations? Do you have certifications, and which ones?
So as I mentioned, we support the UN SDG, the UN Sustainable Development Goal, as a framework,
Mm-hmm.
but we do not have certifications for anything else at this time.
Okay. So your clients are institutional investors. Can you give us use cases? How do they actually use your application?
Yeah. So our customers are asset or portfolio managers, asset allocators, and asset owners, right? So the typical use case is on the discovery of companies that are exposed to specific themes or groups of themes, or maybe a new SDG. So with Noonum, we allow our customers to input their investment thesis themes, such as carbon finance or gender equality, and quickly identify companies that are exposed to those themes both directly and indirectly, right? The second use case is on monitoring these companies or portfolios for their exposure to specific themes and to understand their trends. These thematic scores are quite important, as they are not what you see in the press or the news or the filings. It also includes the network effect, the supply chain, and the competition that we talked about. So that covers the two important use cases.
A last question.
Yeah.
I don't know what Nuna means. Why did you call your company like this?
Yeah. Noonam is a Sanskrit word. It means for the future. And it's also a two-syllable word that anybody can pronounce very easily, right? Uh, why don't you say, go Noonam?
Yeah, go Noonum.
Yeah, see, it's that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. So thank you very much, Shankar, for your answers and for my questions. And if anyone has any question, I'll put down the video your link to your website and the one to our website. So feel free to ask us questions if you have any. And thank you, Shankar.
Thank you, Marianne, and thank you, Vifin.